On the edge of a quiet town, there was a wide ranch with golden fields and tall, strong trees. The ranch belonged to the Ahmed family. The head of the family, Grandpa Imran, was a kind man with a white beard and twinkling eyes. He loved the land he had worked on for decades. The ranch had horses, chickens, and a small garden where the family grew vegetables. It was a peaceful place, a place where life moved slowly and every day had its rhythm. One sunny morning, Grandpa Imran walked along the old wooden fence that ran around the ranch. The fence was made of wood posts and rails carefully painted white. It had stood for many years, but recently the wood had started to warp and bend. Grandpa frowned as he noticed something strange. Some of the posts near the main gate were leaning outward, almost as if someone had pushed them. Strange, Grandpa muttered to himself. I don't remember any storms that could do this. Little Zara, his granddaughter, ran up to him with a small basket of eggs from the chicken coop. Grandpa, why is the fence falling? She asked, her big brown eyes full of curiosity. Grandpa Imran shook his head. I'm not sure, little one. We will have to watch it carefully. That night after dinner, a strange sound woke the family. It was a low rumble, followed by a loud crash. Grandpa Imran got up, his old bones creaking, and looked outside. To his shock, the main gate of the ranch had been pushed hard. Some wooden rails had fallen, and the dirt near the gate was churned up as if a heavy vehicle had struck it. The next morning, Grandpa walked to inspect the damage. Footprints were visible in the soft dirt. But the strange thing was that the prints were unusual. They looked like tires, but not normal tires. Someone had been driving a small, sturdy vehicle over the fence. Grandpa frowned deeply. Who would do this? And why? His daughter, Amina, joined him. Grandpa, maybe it's some kids playing around, maybe a big truck got lost. Grandpa shook his head. No, this is not an accident. Look at the marks. Someone is doing this on purpose. For the next few days, the fence continued to get damaged. Every night, the same strange rumble, the same heavy crash, and every morning, more broken wood. Grandpa Imran started to notice a pattern. The damage always happened around the same time, late at night, and always near the same part of the fence. One afternoon, Grandpa decided to sit on the porch with his old binoculars and watch the fence. The sun was low in the sky, and the golden fields looked calm. At first, nothing happened. The wind moved the grass gently, and the chickens clucked in the coop. But as darkness fell, a small vehicle appeared in the distance. It moved slowly, almost silently at first, and then suddenly charged toward the fence. With a loud crash, it rammed the wooden rails. Grandpa Imran's eyes widened. Well, now we know, he whispered to himself. Someone is trying to push us around. The next morning, Grandpa gathered the family. We have a problem, he said firmly. These people think they can scare us, but we will not let them. Zara looked puzzled. Who are they, Grandpa? Grandpa Imran sighed. I don't know yet, little one, but I know one thing. Our fence is not going to break anymore. Grandpa spent the whole day in the workshop. He measured the old fence, checked every post, and selected strong steel rails from the storage shed. He had used steel on the barn many years ago, and he knew it could last a lifetime. By evening, the first rails were in place. They were heavy and long, and Grandpa had to call Amina and her brother Rafi to help. They worked together, hammering, drilling and bolting the rails to the old wooden posts. The sound of metal striking metal echoed across the ranch. This will hold, Grandpa said proudly. No one will break our fence now. Meanwhile, the mysterious vehicle returned that night. It came like before, but when it hit the fence, there was a loud clang. Sparks flew as metal met metal, and the vehicle bounced back. Grandpa Imran watched from the porch, a small smile on his face. Looks like we finally got their attention, he said quietly. The next morning, the family inspected the fence. Not a single rail was loose. The old wooden parts had been reinforced with steel, and the gate posts were stronger than ever. Grandpa Imran's heart swelled with pride. Zara hugged him tightly. "Grandpa, you're amazing. Nobody can break our fence now." Grandpa chuckled. "That's right, little one. When someone tries to bother you, you don't run away. You stand firm and protect what is yours." Over the next few days, the vehicle returned several times. Each time, it rammed the fence and bounced back with a loud clang. Grandpa Imran started to notice something else. The vehicle was not very big, and it seemed slow and heavy. Whoever was driving it was not very smart, or maybe they were desperate. Rafi, Grandpa's grandson, suggested, "Maybe we should catch them. We can set up cameras or lights." Grandpa nodded slowly. "Yes, we will need to know who is behind this, but first our priority is the fence." By now the steel rails covered almost the entire perimeter of the ranch. The old wood posts were hidden behind strong metal, and every corner of the fence was reinforced. The Ahmed family felt safer. Even the horses seemed calmer, walking near the fence without fear. One night, Grandpa Imran stayed awake with his binoculars again. The moon was bright, and the fields were quiet. Suddenly, he saw the vehicle coming again. It charged toward the fence with full force, expecting to break it as before. But this time, the metal rails held perfectly. The vehicle hit hard, but it could not move the fence at all. Sparks flew, the vehicle bounced, and it drove off slowly, defeated. Grandpa Imran smiled. "They will think twice before coming back now." The next morning, the family gathered near the fence. "Grandpa, can we add more lights?" Amina asked. "Maybe we can see them better next time." Grandpa nodded. "Good idea. We will make sure no one dares to come here without being seen." Zara ran along the new steel rails, tapping them with her small hands. "They are shiny and strong, Grandpa, just like you said." Grandpa Imran laughed. "Yes, little one. Strong enough to protect our home and our land. This fence will last for years, and no one will ever scare us again." And so, the ranch felt safe once more. The fields were peaceful, the animals were happy, and the Ahmed family knew that together, with wisdom and hard work, they could face any challenge. Grandpa Imran's fence was more than just wood and steel. It was a symbol of courage, protection, and love for the home they cherished. But somewhere in the distance, the mysterious vehicle was still out there. The driver had failed this time, but the question remained, who were they, and why did they want to bother the Ahmed family? Grandpa Imran knew that the answer would come soon enough. For now, the family had the strongest fence, the brightest lights, and the knowledge that they could face anything together. After the steel rails were in place, the Ahmed ranch felt stronger than ever. The animals moved freely without fear, and the family went about their daily work with a sense of calm. Grandpa Imran watched the fields from his porch every evening, a cup of tea in his hand, feeling proud of what he had built. But deep down, he knew the mysterious visitor would not give up easily. One afternoon, as the sun painted the sky orange, Amina was watering the garden when she noticed something unusual near the edge of the field. Small tire tracks led away from the fence into the trees. She called Grandpa Imran over. "Grandpa, look at this," she said, pointing at the marks in the dirt. Grandpa leaned down and examined the tracks carefully. "These are fresh," he said. "Someone has been driving here recently. But see this? The tracks stop here and they lead into the forest. Whoever it is, they are testing us." Rafi ran over, wiping his hands on his shirt. "Grandpa, we should set up a trap. Maybe we can catch them tonight?" Grandpa nodded thoughtfully. "You are right. We need to be prepared. But we must be careful. We don't know what they will do." That night, Grandpa, Amina, and Rafi stayed awake, sitting on the porch with a lantern and binoculars. The moon was bright, casting long shadows across the fields. Every sound seemed louder in the quiet night. The wind rustled through the trees and the horses shifted in their stalls, sensing the tension. At exactly the same hour as before, a small vehicle appeared from the forest edge. It moved slowly, headlights dim as if trying to be quiet. The driver approached the fence, expecting to push it down again. But this time Grandpa was ready. "Watch closely," he whispered to his family. "This fence is stronger than ever, but we need to see who is behind this." The vehicle rammed the fence with full force. Sparks flew as metal met metal, and the loud clang echoed across the ranch. But the fence did not budge. Grandpa had reinforced it well. The vehicle bounced back, spinning slightly in the dirt. Then, unexpectedly, a bright flashlight beam swept across the field. Rafi had brought a strong lantern and aimed it directly at the vehicle. The driver squinted and slowed down. In that moment, the Ahmed family saw something surprising. The driver was a man wearing a wide hat and a heavy coat. He looked around nervously as if he was unsure where he was. Grandpa Imran's eyes narrowed. "So now we see you?" he said softly. The vehicle tried to drive away, but Grandpa had anticipated this too. He quickly pulled a rope from the barn and tied it between two trees near the field. The rope was low and the vehicle got caught, stopping in its tracks. Sparks flew as the metal vehicle dragged along the steel rails of the fence, but it could not move forward. The man stepped out, looking embarrassed and nervous. Please, I didn't mean to cause trouble," he said in a shaky voice. Grandpa Imran stepped forward, his tall figure casting a shadow under the moonlight. "Who are you and why have you been ramming our fence?" The man shuffled his feet. "I work for the Homeowners Association," he said. They said the fence was too close to the road and I was told to check it, to push it if it wasn't in order." Amina and Rafi looked at each other confused. "The Homeowners Association? But Grandpa, this is our land. They cannot just drive here and hit our fence." Grandpa Imran's voice was calm but firm. "I know this is private property. No one can come here without permission. And you, sir, should never have done this." The man looked down, embarrassed. "I didn't want to cause problems. I was just following orders. I thought maybe it would be okay if I only pushed it a little." Grandpa Imran shook his head. "Following orders is not a reason to destroy someone's property. Now tell me exactly who sent you here." The man hesitated, then gave a name of a local HOA manager. Grandpa made a mental note. "Thank you for being honest. But next time you must ask before entering private land. Do you understand?" The man nodded quickly. "Yes, sir. I understand. I'm sorry. I will not come back." Grandpa Imran turned to his family. "This explains a lot. The vehicle, the ramming, it was not random. They wanted to scare us into moving the fence. But they were wrong. We will not let anyone threaten our home." Rafi stepped forward. "Grandpa, should we call the police?" Grandpa smiled. "No need yet. For now, we have handled it. We have the fence, the lights, and each other. That is enough. But we will be careful, and we will document everything from now on." The man quickly left and the vehicle disappeared into the dark forest. Grandpa watched it go, then closed the gate and bolted it tightly. The next morning, the family worked together to make the ranch even safer. Grandpa installed motion sensors near the fence, and Rafi helped set up a few cameras on tall posts. Amina painted the old wooden posts that were still visible, making the fence look neat and strong. Zara ran along the steel rails, her laughter echoing across the fields. "Grandpa, our fence is like a castle wall now. No one can get in." Grandpa chuckled. "Yes, little one. And just like a castle, we must always be ready to defend it. But we do it with wisdom, not anger." Days passed, and the mysterious vehicle did not return. The family felt safe, but Grandpa Imran remained watchful. He knew that some people might try again if they thought they could get away with it. One afternoon, as Grandpa was repairing a small broken post near the barn, Rafi ran up excitedly. "Grandpa, look! I found something near the forest edge." Grandpa followed him to the spot. There, half buried in the dirt, was a small notebook. It had the HOA logo on it, and inside were notes about the Ahmed Ranch and the fence. Grandpa carefully opened it. "These are their plans," he said, reading aloud. "They wanted to check the fence, pressure us to move it, and even scare us. But we were ready." Amina looked worried. "Grandpa, what if they come back with more people?" Grandpa smiled gently. "Then we will be ready again. Our fence is strong, our lights are bright, and we know who is behind this. No one can surprise us now." That evening, Grandpa Imran sat on the porch sipping his tea. The wind moved through the trees, and the ranch felt calm and quiet. Zara ran past him holding a flower she had picked from the garden. "Grandpa, do you think they will come again?" she asked. Grandpa shook his head. "Not easily, little one. People who see strength and wisdom often think twice before returning. Our job is to stay vigilant and protect what we love." As the sun set behind the golden fields, the Ahmed family felt a sense of pride. Their ranch was more than a home. It was a symbol of courage, hard work, and family. Grandpa Imran had turned a simple fence into a barrier of safety and hope. And somewhere beyond the forest, the HOA manager realized that the Ahmed family could not be pushed around. The plans in the notebook would not succeed, and the man who had driven the vehicle learned a lesson about honesty, respect, and courage. The ranch was safe. The fence was strong, and the family knew that together they could face any challenge. But the story was not over. The mysterious visitor had left clues, and Grandpa Imran was determined to understand every part of the plan. The night visitor might have been defeated for now, but the Ahmed family was ready for whatever came next. After discovering the notebook with the HOA's plans, Grandpa Imran knew that the Ahmed family had to stay careful. He called a family meeting in the barn that evening. The warm light of lanterns made the wooden walls glow, and the smell of hay and fresh wood filled the air. "Family," Grandpa began, his voice calm but serious. "We have learned that someone has been trying to scare us. The notebook shows that this is not a random act. They have been planning this for a while. But we are ready. We must think carefully before we act." Rafi, always full of energy, said, "Grandpa, we should catch them. We can wait near the fence and surprise them." Grandpa shook his head gently. "We do not want danger. The last driver was alone, but what if they come back with more people? We need a plan that is safe and clever, not just force." Amina, who had been reading the notebook, spoke up. "Grandpa, the notebook shows that the HOA manager thinks our fence is illegal. They even wrote that we might be forced to remove it. Maybe we can solve this before it becomes worse." Grandpa nodded. "Yes, we will use wisdom. Our steel rails have already stopped their vehicle. But now we will gather proof and show them that our fence is legal and strong. We will also make sure no one can enter the ranch without permission." The next day, Grandpa and Rafi went to the local town hall. Grandpa carried the notebook and photos of the fence with him. He spoke politely but firmly with the officials, explaining that the fence was built on their land, within legal boundaries, and that they had reinforced it to protect the property. The officials examined the documents and the photos. One of them, a kind woman with glasses, said, "Grandpa Imran, your fence does appear to be fully within the property lines, but it seems there was some confusion from the HOA." Grandpa smiled. "Thank you. All I want is to protect my family and my land. I do not want trouble, only peace." The officials promised to clarify the situation with the HOA manager. Grandpa felt relieved. The first part of his plan had worked. By showing proof and staying calm, they had reduced the risk of further attacks. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Amina and Zara worked on improving the ranch's security. They added motion sensors along the fence line, set up more lights, and even made small barriers near the gate to make it harder for any vehicle to approach. The ranch looked stronger and more organized than ever. That evening, Grandpa Imran taught Rafi and Zara a lesson about vigilance. "See these fences," he said, pointing to the steel rails. "They are strong, but they cannot think. We must always be aware. A fence is only as good as the people protecting it." Zara nodded seriously. "Grandpa, I will always watch too." Rafi grinned. "And I will help. Nobody can surprise us now." That night, the family stayed alert. The moon was full and shadows stretched across the fields. They waited quietly, listening to the sounds of the night. Hours passed, but there was no sign of the mysterious vehicle. Grandpa suspected that the driver had realized the fence was too strong to break and was thinking twice about coming back. A few days later, a letter arrived at the ranch. It was from the HOA manager. Grandpa Imran read it carefully. The letter apologized for the confusion and stated that the fence was indeed legal. They promised no one would enter the Ahmed family property without permission. Grandpa smiled, but he knew better than to relax completely. Rafi looked excited. "Grandpa, does this mean we won?" Grandpa chuckled. "It means we have won part of the battle, but we must always be prepared. People may try other tricks, so we will stay ready." Over the next week, the family worked together to improve the ranch further. They trimmed bushes near the fence, cleared the fields of rocks, and even built a small lookout tower near the main gate. From there, Grandpa and Rafi could see the entire property. The tower became a favorite spot for Zara, too. She loved climbing up and looking at the fields, imagining herself as the guardian of the ranch. One evening, as Grandpa was adjusting the lights along the fence, Rafi asked, "Grandpa, do you think the driver will come back?" Grandpa looked at the glowing fields and the steel fence shining under the moonlight. "If he comes back, we will be ready. But we have also shown strength, wisdom, and honesty. That is more important than scaring anyone," Amina added. "Grandpa, maybe we can make this a lesson for everyone in the town. People should respect private property and solve problems peacefully." Grandpa nodded. "Exactly. Courage is not about fighting alone. It is about standing for what is right. using wisdom and protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Days turned into weeks, and the ranch remained peaceful. The horses grazed in the golden fields, chickens wandered freely, and the garden flourished with fresh vegetables. The Ahmed family knew they had worked hard to create a safe home. One afternoon, a group of neighbors came to visit. They had heard about the mysterious vehicle and the strong fence. Everyone admired the steel rails and the lights along the ranch. "Grandpa Imran, your fence is incredible," said one neighbor. "We can see why nobody would dare break it now." Grandpa smiled humbly. "It is not just the fence that is strong. It is the family and the care we put into our land." The neighbors nodded, impressed by the family's courage and clever thinking. Zara ran around showing them the lookout tower, and Rafi demonstrated how the motion sensors worked. Everyone laughed and enjoyed the afternoon together, feeling safe and happy. But Grandpa Imran remained watchful. He inspected the fence every morning, checking for small signs of damage or unusual activity. The notebook from the HOA driver stayed in a safe place. He knew it was a reminder that vigilance was important, even when things seemed peaceful. One evening, as the family gathered for dinner, Grandpa shared a story about his youth. "When I was young, we faced many challenges on this land. Sometimes it was storms, sometimes animals, sometimes neighbors who disagreed. But I learned one thing. A strong heart and a clever mind can solve many problems. That is what we have done with this fence." Rafi nodded proudly. "Grandpa, I will always remember that. Strong hearts and clever minds." Zara clapped her hands. "And steel rails." The family laughed, enjoying the warmth of the moment. Even though the HOA situation had caused worry, they had turned it into an opportunity to learn, work together, and protect their home. As night fell, Grandpa Imran walked to the porch and looked at the stars. The ranch was quiet, the fence stood tall, and the fields were safe. He felt proud, not just of the steel rails or the lookout tower, but of the family that had worked together to overcome challenges. The mysterious vehicle had tried to scare them, but the Ahmed family had used courage, wisdom, and careful planning to protect their home. The notebook had been a clue. The lights and steel rails were their defense, and the town officials had helped clarify the situation. Grandpa knew that life on the ranch would continue, with small challenges every day. But he also knew that the family was stronger than any problem that might come their way. The fence was more than metal and wood. It was a symbol of protection, wisdom, and unity. And somewhere beyond the trees, the memory of the HOA driver lingered. He had learned a lesson about respect, honesty, and courage. But Grandpa Imran remained ready, always vigilant and always guiding his family to be clever, kind, and strong. Even though the Ahmed family had strengthened their ranch and clarified the situation with the local officials, Grandpa Imran remained watchful. The steel rails along the fence shone in the sunlight. The lights and cameras were ready, and the lookout tower gave the family a perfect view of their property. But Grandpa knew that people who did not understand respect might try again. One morning, as Grandpa was feeding the horses, Rafi ran up excitedly. "Grandpa, I saw a strange car near the edge of the forest last night. It was small like the vehicle before, but different." Grandpa frowned. "Show me the tracks, Rafi." Rafi led Grandpa to a spot near the forest. The tracks were fresh, showing small wheels and deep marks in the dirt. Someone had been here, trying to find a weak point in the fence. Grandpa examined the tracks carefully. "They are testing the fence again," he said. "They may not understand that it cannot be broken." Amina, who had been watching, suggested, "Grandpa, maybe we can use this to our advantage. We can see how they try to come in, and we can prepare a clever way to stop them." Grandpa nodded. "Yes, we will turn their tricks into a lesson. But we must stay safe and smart. No rushing, no anger, only wisdom." That evening, the family gathered on the porch, planning their next steps. Grandpa Imran divided the tasks carefully. Rafi and Zara would help monitor the fence and check the cameras. Amina would improve the lighting and make sure the sensors were working perfectly. Grandpa would set traps, not dangerous ones, only clever barriers to stop vehicles without anyone getting hurt. Night fell, and the ranch became quiet. The moon reflected on the steel rails, making them shine like silver. Grandpa and his family waited patiently, eyes on the forest edge. After some time, a small vehicle appeared again, moving slowly and cautiously. The driver seemed hesitant, unsure what to expect. As he approached the fence, he tried to push against it just like before. But the steel rails held firm and the vehicle bounced back. Rafi whispered, "Grandpa, he's trying the same thing." Grandpa smiled. "Let's see what he does next. We are ready for him." The driver tried another approach, looking for gaps or weak points, but the lights, cameras, and motion sensors detected him immediately. A loud alarm rang out, startling the driver. He stopped, looking confused and nervous. Sparks flew as he accidentally brushed against the steel rails and the vehicle spun slightly in the dirt. Grandpa stepped forward, calling out, "You must leave now. This is private property." The driver hesitated, then slowly drove back toward the forest, clearly defeated. Grandpa and his family watched until the vehicle disappeared from sight. The next morning, the family inspected the fence. Not a single steel rail was damaged. Grandpa nodded proudly. "They are persistent, but our fence is stronger than their tricks," Amina suggested. "Grandpa, maybe we should meet the HOA manager again. Explain clearly that we will not allow anyone to enter our property without permission. That might prevent more visits," Grandpa agreed. "Yes, clarity is important. Sometimes people do not understand until they are shown with words and evidence." The meeting with the HOA manager went smoothly. Grandpa presented the photos of the reinforced fence, the layout of the property, and the security measures in place. He spoke politely but firmly, making it clear that any future attempts to enter the ranch without permission would be considered trespassing. The manager nodded, realizing that the Ahmed family would not be intimidated. "Grandpa Imran, we understand. You have a strong and legal fence. We will make sure no one comes here again without approval." Grandpa smiled. "Thank you. We want peace and respect. That is all." Back at the ranch, the family celebrated their small victory. Zara ran along the steel rails, touching each one, while Rafi tested the motion sensors. "Everything works perfectly, Grandpa," he said proudly. Grandpa nodded. "Yes, but remember, our strength is not only in steel or lights. It is in our courage, patience, and wisdom. That is why we succeeded." The days passed peacefully, but Grandpa remained vigilant. He taught Rafi and Zara how to check the fence for signs of tampering, how to read tracks in the dirt, and how to notice small details that might indicate someone was approaching. One afternoon, as Grandpa was repairing a small loose post near the barn, he noticed something unusual. There were tiny markings on the fence that looked like scratches. They were deliberate, made with a tool to test the metal. Grandpa frowned. "These people are trying to understand our fence," he said quietly, "but they will not succeed. We will show them respect, but we will not allow fear." That evening, Grandpa and Rafi decided to set up a clever system. They placed small reflective markers along the fence, so any vehicle approaching at night would reflect light and be noticed immediately. They also arranged some harmless obstacles to slow down any vehicle that tried to come close. The night arrived, and the family waited patiently. Hours passed, but there was no vehicle. Grandpa smiled. "They are learning. Persistence is good, but wisdom is stronger." Zara, sitting on the lookout tower, pointed toward the forest. "Grandpa, the trees look peaceful tonight." Grandpa nodded. "Yes, little one. And that is how we want it. Peaceful, safe, and full of life." The next day, the family worked together to improve the ranch further. They repaired fences, cleaned the garden, and made sure the animals were happy. The chickens clucked contentedly, the horses grazed in the golden fields, and the garden grew healthy vegetables. Grandpa explained to the children, "A home is not only strong because of fences and steel. It is strong because of care, love, and patience. That is what protects us." Weeks went by without any further attempts from the mysterious vehicle. The family felt safe, but Grandpa Imran knew that vigilance was always necessary. He continued teaching the family about awareness, responsibility, and clever solutions to challenges. One morning, a neighbor visited the ranch. "Grandpa Imran, your ranch looks amazing. I heard about the steel rails and the lights. You and your family have done a remarkable job." Grandpa smiled humbly. "Thank you. It is not just me. My family helped, and we all worked together. That is why the ranch is safe and strong." The neighbor nodded. "I hope everyone in town learns from your example. Respect, hard work, and clever thinking can solve many problems without fighting." Grandpa agreed. "Exactly. Courage is important, but so is wisdom. That is how we protect our home and our land." At night, as the family gathered for dinner, Grandpa reflected on the past weeks. The HOA driver had tried to scare them, but the Ahmed family had responded with intelligence and care. The steel rails, lights, cameras, and lookout tower were important. But the real strength came from the unity and determination of the family. Zara, finishing her meal, said proudly, "Grandpa, our ranch is the strongest in town." Grandpa laughed. "Yes, little one, and it will stay strong because we take care of it every day, with courage and wisdom." That night, the stars shone bright over the golden fields. The ranch was quiet, peaceful, and secure. Grandpa Imran looked out over the steel fence and felt proud. The family had turned a problem into an opportunity, and the ranch had become safer and stronger than ever before. The mysterious vehicle had not returned, and the HOA manager had been warned. But Grandpa Imran knew that life was full of challenges. With patience, intelligence, and the support of family, they could overcome anything. The ranch, the fence, and the family were ready for the future. Whatever came next, the Ahmed family would face it together with courage, cleverness, and love. The weeks after the HOA manager's warning passed peacefully at the Ahmed ranch. The golden fields swayed gently in the breeze, the chickens clucked happily in the coop, and the horses grazed calmly near the steel fence. The Ahmed family felt a sense of relief and pride, but Grandpa Imran remained watchful. He knew that protecting a home was not just about fences and steel, but about vigilance, unity, and care. One morning, Grandpa walked along the fence with Rafi and Zara. The steel rails gleamed in the sunlight, perfectly aligned, and the reinforced gate was stronger than ever. Grandpa inspected each post carefully, tapping lightly with his hand to check for weakness. "Everything is perfect," he said with satisfaction. "This fence has protected us, but remember, the real strength is not in the metal. It is in our unity and courage." Zara ran ahead to check on the chickens. "Grandpa, the fence is shiny and strong." "Nobody can get in now." Grandpa laughed. "Yes, little one, and that is how it should be. We will take care of it every day, and it will always protect us." Amina joined them, carrying a basket of vegetables from the garden. "Grandpa, the garden is thriving too. Our hard work is paying off." Grandpa nodded. "That is right. Everything we protect and nurture grows stronger. The same is true for our home, our land, and our family." That afternoon, the family gathered in the barn for a small celebration. They had invited a few neighbors who had helped them with advice and encouragement. Everyone admired the reinforced fence, the lookout tower, and the careful work around the ranch. One neighbor said, "Grandpa Imran, you have shown courage and clever thinking. This ranch is not only safe but beautiful. You have turned a problem into an opportunity." Grandpa smiled. "Thank you, but it was a family effort. Every person helped, and together we made our home stronger." Rafi grinned proudly. "Grandpa, I helped too. I checked the cameras and the sensors. Nobody can sneak in now." Grandpa patted his grandson's shoulder. "That is right. And remember, clever thinking and patience are just as important as strength. That is what truly protects us." Zara ran to the lookout tower, waving to the neighbors. "Look, from here I can see the whole ranch. Nobody can surprise us." Grandpa chuckled. "Exactly, little one. And you are helping too. Everyone who cares about the ranch helps to keep it safe." That evening, the family gathered on the porch, watching the sun set over the golden fields. The light glinted off the steel rails, casting long shadows across the land. Grandpa Imran sipped his tea, feeling proud of what they had accomplished. "We have faced challenges together," he said, "and we have learned that strength, patience, and unity can overcome almost anything." Amina smiled. "Grandpa, we have also shown everyone that problems can be solved without anger or fighting. We used wisdom and courage instead." Grandpa nodded. "Exactly. That is the lesson we should always remember. Protection is not just about fences and barriers. It is about thinking ahead, staying alert, and caring for what is important." Days passed and the ranch remained peaceful. The mysterious vehicle never returned, and the HOA manager's office confirmed that no further action would be taken against the Ahmed family. The notebook that had caused worry now rested safely in the barn, a reminder of the challenge they had faced and overcome. One morning, Grandpa walked along the fence with Zara. She carried a small watering can, helping to water the plants near the fence posts. "Grandpa, do you think anyone will ever try to break our fence again?" she asked. Grandpa smiled gently. "Little one, I hope not. But even if they do, we are ready. Our strength comes from our work, our care, and our family. That cannot be broken by anyone." Rafi joined them, carrying a toolbox. "Grandpa, I want to check the fence again today." "I like helping keep it safe," Grandpa laughed. "Good, that is the spirit. Vigilance is part of keeping what you love safe. Over the next few weeks, the Ahmed family continued to maintain their ranch. Grandpa showed Rafi and Zara how to check for any weak points, how to notice tracks or marks in the dirt, and how to use the cameras and lights effectively. Amina organized the garden and made sure the animals were happy and healthy. Neighbors visited often, bringing fruits and vegetables, and sharing stories of their own farms and ranches. Everyone admired the steel fence, the careful planning, and the family's unity. The Ahmed Ranch became an example in the town for courage, careful thinking, and respect for property. One afternoon, while Grandpa was repairing a small part of the gate, a car drove slowly down the road nearby. Grandpa watched carefully from the porch. It was a delivery vehicle, and the driver waved politely. Grandpa nodded and waved back. "This is the way life should be," he said to his family. "People should respect boundaries, and we can live in peace. That is the reward for courage and care." That evening, the family gathered for a quiet dinner. The golden light of sunset filled the dining area, and the smell of fresh vegetables and bread made the meal feel even more special. Grandpa raised his glass of tea. "To family," he said, "to courage, wisdom, and care. And to the ranch that brings us all together, to the ranch." Zara and Rafi shouted together, clinking their glasses with Grandpa's. After dinner, the family walked along the fence one last time before bedtime. The steel rails gleamed under the moonlight, the lights and cameras were ready, and the lookout tower stood tall. The ranch was safe, and the family felt proud and happy. Grandpa Imran looked around at the fields, the animals, and his family. "We have learned many lessons," he said softly. "Patience, clever thinking, courage, and unity. These are stronger than any vehicle, any threat, or any misunderstanding. That is why our ranch will always be safe." Zara ran ahead, waving to the stars. "Grandpa, our ranch is magical. Nobody can scare us anymore." Grandpa chuckled. "Yes, little one. And that magic comes from us, from our care, our hearts, and our determination. That is what makes a home strong." The next morning, Grandpa, Amina, Rafi, and Zara continued their daily chores with a sense of calm and pride. The garden was flourishing, the animals were happy, and the steel fence stood as a silent protector of their land. Every task they performed, no matter how small, reinforced their connection to the ranch and to each other. Weeks later, a small group of neighbors gathered near the fence to admire the Ahmed Ranch. "Grandpa Imran, your family has shown courage, clever thinking, and unity," one of them said. "We have all learned from your example." Grandpa smiled humbly. "Thank you. But it is not just me. It is all of us working together, respecting each other, and protecting what is important. That is the real strength of this ranch." As the sun set behind the golden fields, the family stood together, looking at the steel fence, the garden, and the animals. The ranch was more than a home. It was a symbol of care, courage, and wisdom. Grandpa Imran knew that no matter what challenges came, his family would face them together with clever thinking, patience, and love. The mysterious vehicle had tried to scare them. The HOA had caused worry. But the Ahmed family had overcome every obstacle. The steel rails were strong, the lights and cameras were ready, and the lookout tower stood tall. More importantly, the family's courage, unity, and wisdom had made their home stronger than ever. Zara ran along the steel fence one last time that evening, her laughter echoing across the fields. Rafi checked the sensors, proud of how well everything worked. Amina tended the garden, happy to see the fruits of their hard work. Grandpa Imran stood on the porch watching his family and the land he loved. "Yes," he said quietly to himself. "Our ranch is safe, our home is strong, and together, we can face anything that comes our way." The Ahmed family had turned a problem into a victory, showing that courage, wisdom, and love for home and family are stronger than any challenge. The ranch, protected by steel rails, bright lights, and clever thinking, stood as a symbol of resilience, safety, and care. And from that day forward, the Ahmed family knew that no matter what happened, their home would always be theirs, protected by steel, by wisdom, and by the hearts of the people who loved it.